Yeah. Yeah. So many flight books, it's a library. I be in that Dior. Just took a flight to Bora. Foreign cars like foreigners. Burberry on her. Up in France, Miss Bonjour. I be in Conde Garçon. We going past the mall. Only pass carrots, spin at the mall. We do the same. Along, madame, we sing. Add some more change. That's a sing along. Dripping all the way from home at St. Laurent. Some of the flight books, a library. We ain't flying solo. Tune in to the show. It's the Passport Bros. No excuse entertainment, it's no excuse in the show. Turn it up some more. It's the Passport Bros, no competition. Fuck around and get this. I just money we spending, Javinci. Got Javinci on bitches, got bitches on bitches, the bitches on bitches. Gucci in the sand, Emilio Pucci bag, fill it with cash. When I ball the travel, I don't dribble and pass. When I'm fucking on a Venezuelan, I'm a Martian, I'm an alien. Took off landed Africa, big stepping like an elephant. Blood diamond, but he delicate. That's more I'm from, I'm Henderson. Bought a jet for my residence. Best friends with that president, bitch.
What's good, what's good, what's good, what's good? Welcome to the Passport Bros podcast. Appreciate everybody tuning in. I do got somebody else that's going to join the stream, kind of talk about his experiences, but, tonight I want to talk about, what I've learned as it pertains to, being married. So I got a new setup. I'm still, still trying to get the kinks worked out, but I'm 90%, done with the setup I want to do, for the podcast, man. But yeah, I appreciate everybody that's tuned in the building. Salute to Inspired Truth Podcast, man. Salute, man. Salute. And I'll probably drop the link, too. Once I get everything I want to get off, man. Greetings, Noble War Prize. Salute. So yeah, man. Let me know how things look so far. So I still got some, like I said, I still got some things to do. I gotta put up a banner, and I just got this nice chair. So I'm excited to what the podcast is gonna be moving forward, man. But just a couple of housekeeping so those that don't know, I am preparing to be traveling for a few months in Africa, Thailand first, and looking forward to that. Styles King is in the building. What's good, bro? What's good? So tonight, man. I know some people probably been on streams where I kind of talked about what happened, with marriage and things like that. So I kind of did things on other people's panel, but I haven't really kind of talked about things like from from my channels. So I wanted to kind of talk about some things that maybe I didn't get to articulate before, and then also just kind of want to steer guys into kind of the direction that I'm looking at, and how I'm viewing seeking a wife moving forward. And there are some, I would say, some promising things that I've kind of learned and discovered. So let me get right to it. Let me get to my notes. All right. So I got a couple bullet points on what I learned from being married to a liberal woman. So those that don't know, I was married to a Black Colombian woman. Since since things kind of ended, I've never said anything like negative. I've always, spoke about her in a positive light. And not that everybody's situation can be like that, but at least I could say I could speak to things in a positive light, like no hard feelings, and and vice versa. So I'll never say anything negative or anything too personal about that situation. I'm just gonna speak on things as far as um, just how my experience being married for the first time, and it just happened to be with a foreign woman. All right, so I got Big Tez in the background. So I see you. I see you. Bro. I'm gonna bring you up in a minute. So I'm just gonna kind of start with one bullet point. Um, it's difficult. This is what I learned from being married to a black woman in Colombia. It's difficult to find a black woman who wants to be a traditional wife. Like that is that's a hard pill to swallow, you know. And I hope there's some black women out there listening too. It's a hard pill to swallow, especially if you're a black man with a pro-black mindset. And especially in the U.S., a lot of black women, they complain and make it a point that they hate the idea of guys um, dating outside the race. And so when guys, when black men, are trying to be pro-black, it ends up not really working out in a lot of instances. You know what I mean? And so a lot of passport bros are married to Latinas, Asian women, white women. There is colorism in the passport bro movement, and I used to kind of have kind of side eyed it a little bit, but what I have realized, especially what the young brother went through Kenya, what I realized is that as a black man, you're gonna put yourself through a lot of harm, forcing yourself to stick within your race. You know, you're gonna put yourself through a lot of harm, forcing yourself. Now, if you get with a black woman, everything should be organically, whether it's black, white, Asian, Latina, Indian, whatever. It should be organic, and people should respect it. Um, but what I've learned, the first thing I learned is, being trying to be pro-black, um, and forcing yourself to be pro-black, you can cause yourself a lot of harms because in the black community, whether it's Africa, Latin America, wherever, it's hard to find a woman who wants to be a traditional wife. And we're going to get more into that. Let me bring my other guest that's going to be chopping it up with me. Hold on one second. Let's see which view stands out. Hold on, bro. Let's do this right now. He said there are a lot of anti-black women. Yeah, there are a lot of people anti-black women. Um, my second point, my second thing I learned is that my personality isn't compatible with liberal or feminist women. That's another thing. That's another thing I learned. That's another thing I learned. So I talked about this a lot too when it comes to personality. And yes, there are guys that are married to women in Latin America, even though Latin America is, pretty liberal and there's a lot of feminism. And what I've learned is that guys that do have long lasting, let's say, marriages with those women, they tend to not be bothered with the liberal woman. They tend not to be bothered with the ambitious woman. They tend to not to be bothered with maybe she has some feminist views, but it doesn't conflict with their personality. But somebody like myself, my personality is not the same as other guys. A lot of guys' personalities conflict with ambitious women. Um, it conflicts with non-traditional women. It conflicts with um, women that have feminist views in a lot of ways. So it's a personality thing too. That's another thing I learned. To a certain extent, age of the woman plays a part. I don't want to say too much because there are some large gap marriages that do work. So I don't want to generalize, but there is a higher risk of there is a higher risk factor when a woman decides to, let's say, settle down and get married when she's young. So it's not necessarily the age gap. It's and a lot of times, especially with the modern women, it's the age of the woman. So I would say women definitely, uh, definitely like 28, 27 and younger. Um, may not be ready to be a wife or a traditional wife. Because there are some women that want to be wives, but their idea of a wife is different than what a lot of, I would say, the passports of views of a wife is. There's no standard formula for a wife. Some wives can be traditional, some wives can be stay-at-home moms, some wives can be, working, career oriented. So there's a lot of roles modern wives can play, but for the type of wives that it, a lot of passport bros look for traditional roles, um, you know, it will be harder to find in a younger woman because she may not be at the age where she really wants to play that traditional role. She might want to play that traditional role in her mid 30s or 40s, but she might not want to play that traditional role in her mid 20s. That's a good question. I answered that question. Appreciate that, the key maker. Another thing I learned is that I need a woman from a religion that will hold her accountable in marriage. So I'll kind of get into that, a little later. But basically, a lot of things go back to certain principles, and like I say a lot of times, is that I don't believe people, for the most part, if you're not religious, I don't think that I don't see really a reason to get married if you're not religious. Now there are caveats, there are reasons, but I think that I look at marriage still as a religious institution, and we live in a post-religious society, which makes a lot of women not as marriageable. So I need a woman from a religion that will hold her accountable, and I'll talk about what my viewpoint or my opinions on what religions hold women accountable. Um, the the fifth thing, and then I'm going to get brother Big Tiz to speak, is that the institution of marriage is not a United States problem. It is a world problem. I work with guys from India. They tell me about modern women. They say divorce rates are going higher. They're saying, when women go to Western countries and they come back to India, they're bringing these different mindsets. I hear, men talk about things in Africa. You see, it's every continent. The institution of marriage is uh, is a problem. The only except most guys, people I've talked to over the world, most guys say the only part of the world where it's not a problem is the Middle East. Is the Middle East. Um, and so, early in my research, when I was traveling Latin America in the beginning, Colombia had an attractive statistic that they have low divorce rates, and I really that really attracted me. And what I learned over time is that the reason why Colombia and some other countries with this statistic, the reason why Colombia has a low divorce rate is because they have a low marriage rate. So if people not getting married, then obviously they're gonna have a low divorce rate. And it made sense in my situation because a lot of Colombians, for example, marriage isn't common. Marriage isn't common. Most people cohabitate. They use the Spanish term mi esposa, mi esposo, and they use it out of context. They use it, they call each other like, okay, this is my husband um or my wife, but they're not legally married. They just lived with each other, and that is kind of like the for a lot of Colombians, that's like the ultimate goal. That's kind of solidifying your relationship once you live together. The formal term for like husband is like marido or marida. They don't really use that term. So Colombian, for example, they don't. A lot of people are not legally married. They just cohabitate, and they call themselves like husband and wife in that situation. The key maker said, "Why did you marry a Colombian feminist?" I I thought that based on the countries that I've visited, you know, I looked at it. I looked at, well, if if I done been to all these countries and I done found a woman that checked all the boxes, her being a feminist shouldn't really have an effect on the longevity of the marriage because she lives in her country. I'm not bringing her to the U.S. I'm maintaining the dynamic that I met her in, keeping her in the culture that I met her in, and therefore, by me being the sole financial provider, um, it would be in her best interest to want to, stay in the situation. Um, so I didn't think that. I thought because I played a lot of things safe, prenup, didn't move her to the U.S. Um, was the bread, the financial provider. I had pretty much everything that um, I had the situation where I had everything, where I had things under control to my advantage. Not that I wanted to take advantage, but the less the less likelihood something like a divorce can happen, and it still happened. So the short answer is, she was the best option. She was the best option out of, and she still is. Even women I meet today, she still is. If I have to put her in the mix, she still is one of the best options. She just has a she we just there's a personality conflict when it comes to her way of thinking. You know, Diamond 10 said, "I'm loving South Africa." Oh man, okay, that's what's up, man. I just had a homie that was just out there, man. So Big Tez, let me get you in, man. You want to introduce yourself, man? Let people know uh travel experience, and then you can kind of get into whatever you want to get into.
Okay, yeah, man. Glad to be here. No excuse. Yeah, man. Where do I begin, man? Big Tez, man, from Ohio, Cincinnati to be exact. Um, been traveling 15 plus years. I'm in my mid 30s. I got my passport when I was 19. Started traveling when I was 20, and ain't looked back ever since.
Okay. Cool, 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 man. So I know we had kind of spoke on the back end, and you was married you was married to a Latina too, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I was married to a Brazilian for 2 years.
2 years. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So kind of give us like a brief intro to that. Like how did y'all meet? Like what was the dynamic? Was it long distance?
Okay.
Um, and then
Yeah,
we
yeah.
go from there.
Yeah, for sure, man. Met her here in the States. She was living here, so she was a student athlete and she had went to college here, and she was about to get her master's. We met in between her starting her master's and graduating undergrad, and just kind of hit it off, man. Just started doing our thing. About a year later, after we started dating, we got engaged, got married, and after that, things just kind of developed after that, man. But we can really kind of get into some of the like cultural things. But just in general, I got married at 27. I don't suggest any dude get married before he 35, honestly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So y'all was just moving a little bit too quick, trying to develop like different areas of my life, because once you kind of get established in your career, you want to get the house, find a lady, kind of settle down, just try a new chapter of life, But now I'm in my mid 30s, I was just moving a little bit too quick,
Okay, okay. So that was a minute ago. Like,
Oh yeah, I got married in 2017, and then I
okay,
got divorced in 2019.
2019. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So what was her immigration status at the time y'all got married?
Yeah, so when we met, she was here on a student visa because she was in school. So she had probably lived here. Let me think. About probably about 5 years when I met her, and she had been living here about 5 years. And then once we started dating, I realized very early on that she was wife material.
Mm,
So once I proposed, we just kind of started that, and then a lot of people don't know, like I didn't have to do a K-1 visa or nothing like that, but you do have to apply. Once you get married, you have to apply for a permanent residency or green card.
right.
And we just paid a lawyer, paid him like 3,000, went ahead and processed all our paperwork, knocked that out, and then everything got approved. Went through the little interview process, and it was smooth.
So was she Afro Brazilian or was she like
Yeah, so
part of?
so she's like a mix. Her mom was like an indigenous and black mix, and then her dad was just straight black. So she was a mixture of indigenous and black.
Indigenous and black. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm. Wow. So that's a different. I mean, so because we got guys that that brought women to the U.S. We got guys that you know didn't bring women to the U.S. And then there are people that are saying you should maybe seek a woman from a different culture that's already in the U.S. Um, and what's kind of ironic is that my wife, she was in the U.S. on her own accord before we was married, and we kicked it and we had a good time. Like she made me feel, if she was living in the U.S., she would have made me feel comfortable marrying her too. You know.
Hmm.
So what do you think? What do you think? Hmm, do you think in your situation? Do you think that it was uh, that she just put on a she deceived you, or do you think like she just changed, or external things affected?
Yeah. So I can get into that, man. So me, the type of person I am, I gotta keep it 100, man. Me, when I got married at 27, I did not have a strong desire to get married, right? So when I was with her, things were good. However, I'd never really had a long term relationship before that. So the most important thing to her was being married. She comes from parents that have been married over 50 years,
Right.
right? She comes from like a more traditional conservative background. For me, marriage was never a big priority for me. However, I knew it was important to her. And at the time, being a young guy, lacking wisdom, stuff like that, looking at it in hindsight, I was okay to get married because I knew it was important to her and I knew she wanted to be married. and I loved her, so I was cool to get married. However, when it comes to something as serious as marriage, you just don't try marriage. You have to be committed. You have to really be locked in. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up getting married, and then once I was married, I hated being married. And then even now, I still have no desire to be married, even though I've been divorced over 5 years. So it's like I just don't think marriage is for me. So I really can't say it was anything she did. It was like she was always respectful. She was a good wife, and
Okay.
she was a wifey type. So just being honest, she didn't flip the script on me or nothing like that. She always held me down. But at the end of the day, I'm not a person who wants to be married.
Okay.
So I filed for divorce. I cut it off, and we moved on with our lives.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it was you basically just having a change of heart.
pretty much. Yeah, because like once I was in the situation, like I just did not like the situation. I felt like my freedom was taken from me. It was a lot of stuff I hadn't experienced. Just a lot of things, just all in all. So yeah, but
Okay.
it was never any like glaring issue between us, so to speak.
Somebody asked a question. Do you also go by the name? What do you say? Gerard? Arbitrage?
No.
Okay. Salute Black Man Travels. Okay, he said watching a stream. Noble War Prize said, what aspect of marriage did you dislike? It's a good
Yeah, so
question.
just for me personally, it's the sense of freedom.
Okay.
Having to be accountable to somebody, always having to consider someone else's feelings, and a lot of different things that you do. Honestly, man, at 27, I was just too young to be getting married. I just personally feel that a man hasn't even matured and grown into, you know, um, a certain version of himself. So it's like when we got married, I was 27, she was 26. You don't know yourself at 27, man. I'm gonna just be honest. Maybe I'll just speak for myself. I didn't know myself at 27. So,
I
yeah,
mean, I wasn't gonna go in that direction, but I will say this. Being ready is important. Now, being ready, I want to make a distinction being ready and being perfect. Now, I wasn't I wasn't perfect. There were some things about my actions that I would definitely do differently. Um, and so in some people's eyes, they probably would have looked at me not totally being ready. Like I'm traveling solo. You know what I mean? I'm kind of doing things shouldn't really be doing.
yeah.
And obviously, she not a dummy. She can see things. And you know, being ready. Like you took a look in the mirror yourself, and you had to tell yourself, you know what, you know, this not for me. And I think a lot of men, as ready as they may feel, you have to be ready to give your all. You know what I mean? Whether that's being totally committed, whether that's being vulnerable, um, to a certain extent. But I played it, in a lot of ways I could say I played it too safe, whether it was not wanting to bring her here, not wanting to invest too much financially. I mean, prenups I think is important, but some people may look at it as that, you know, you're not really being truly vulnerable. Um, so readiness is something that we don't really talk about a lot. I think a lot of guys, there are most guys in the past with bro space don't want to get married. So I mean, it's not like a lot of guys do want to get married, but the ones that do, um, I do think being ready is something that a lot of us has to look in a mirror. You know what I mean? Regardless of how old we are, you could be 40, you could be 50, you could be 60 and still might not be ready. You know?
No, no, I totally agree. I totally agree. And I think every man just has to figure that out for himself. But, I'm glad, I got my clarity and stuff like that. Now, it sucks that in that same process, things didn't work out. A lot of pain, a lot of regret with that whole situation. But, that's a part of life. We live, we learn, and we get wiser. So,
Hold on. Noble Ward said, was she controlling or pushing emotional labor?
no. But the one thing that I can say is, I think that when you're younger and you get married or date someone from other cultures, I think the way that they do things in their culture, when you're living in the United States and stuff like that, there can be a sense of like some of their ideas are a little delusional, like as far as, let's just say something as simple as, hey, we have bills to take care of. Okay, if we're taking care of bills, that means I need to work. I might have to do overtime. Now you're complaining that I'm never home, but yet you have needs that you say you want. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they have a hard time separating the need for sacrifice and how hard you got to go in the paint to provide. So it's a little bit of a disassociation with that. I'm like, okay, I'm working, I'm getting it. You know what I'm saying? You need to be understanding of that type of thing. And then they like, oh, you're never home. Well, I need to make money.
Right.
So like their ideas sometimes can be a little delusional, I feel. But that's pretty much it. It was never no issues with control or something like that. It was mostly just understanding like what it takes to be successful here.
All right. One more question, then I'm going to get Black Man Travels in. What are some cultural things that you noticed, being with a Brazilian or, or Latina?
Family's a big thing, but family's a big thing, but it was never a thing. Like I'm a family person, so it was never a thing that was of any detriment or anything. Of course we sent money back to her family, stuff like that, but it was never anything where I felt like it was a negative pressure or anything like that. Like, she kind of handled all of that, and it was good. It was good. No issues. I liked my in-laws, and all her extended family. And I think it just kind of depends on like the culture, because like Brazil's a big place, right? So
Right.
she wasn't from Rio or Salvador or nothing like that. She was from the interior, Belo Horizonte. So they just kind of like more chill. They kind of like Midwest people, simple, go to work, go to church, stuff like that. So just honest, hardworking people, personable, nice, So yeah, I think it's good to do a deep dive on your girl's family background and see who she comes from. Who are the influences in her life, And if that don't check out, you might be in some trouble. But I never had no issues with that.
Big Mike, real quick. Big Mike said, "Ask the guy on the panel, would you ever want to be married if you met the right person?"
I would say no. I would say no, unless that I felt that from inside of myself, like a desire to. But as of right now, I would say no. I think for all men, your first primary relationship is a relationship you have with yourself. As long as you good, you focusing on you, handling your business, get yourself together, and then you can, move forward with somebody else. But I'm still working on me. So until I feel that desire to come within, I'm good. I'm good being unmarried.
All right, for sure, for sure. What up, Black Man Travels?
Hey, what's going on, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
Yeah, man. I wanted to chime into the conversation and Hey, don't mind me with the little one. He's making a lot of noise. So
That's okay.
yeah. So I mean, I've been married to my Dominican wife for over a year now, but we've known each other over 10 years. And during those 10 years, I really got the chance to know her. I met her while she was going to college. I went to her graduation. I was there when she was working her jobs, and we really got the time to get to know each other. Man, it was nothing rushed. I actually flew her down to Miami from DR on a tourist visa, where she stayed with me for 3 months, and she had the opportunity to see how my life was living here in the States. I showed her my bills, showed things that I was doing in the States. We traveled together, took her to like multiple states while she was here. And whenever I fly back to DR, we'll actually spend a lot of time together. I will typically fly to DR maybe once, like every other month. So I really got the chance to really get to know her, get to know her family background, everything else. So even now, while she lives here in the States, she got to know my family. You know, her mother has come to from the DR to the United States to visit us at least 2 times already. And I always encourage her to do better. You know, I was there for her graduation when she got her education degree in Santiago, and now she's pursuing something very unique here. And I'm constantly pushing her. I told her, hey, I want you to be the best version of yourself, and yet we're going to continue to be there for each other. So I've never had this traditional, submissive, conservative, non-conservative, liberal. I never had that in my life because that never seemed to be a focus. I always focused on character and the fact that you're able to play your role. I play my role, she plays her role. And now that, you know, she finally got her first job, you know, hey, I'm home taking care of the kids, man. It's like, it's not a big deal for me. I don't expect my wife to be in the house all day and cooking and cleaning. I wasn't raised that way. But also too, she understands that if I need something, she'll stop whatever she's doing just to make sure I'm good. So it really boils down on the person that you meet and the person that you decide to be in a relationship
Now, would you say? I mean, I met her before. Would you say that was she ever the type? I guess is her personality like like a simple life, or um, or someone that wants more and more and more and more. Like you get to one level, and then they say, "Okay, we're here now. Let's go to the next level." Like, what is her personality like when it
she's
comes
kind of like a
to like
hybrid.
ambition?
Yeah, she's kind of like a hybrid. She's kind of like a hybrid. You know, she's from the countryside of DR. You know, came from a very strong family, big family at that. But also, she wants more out of life. I don't blame her. So, you know, I'm the same way. You know, I have a strong family background, and I have a simple life, but also I want more. And the good thing is that her and I, we see things on the same page, where we want more for our kids. So her pursuing a certain degree here, or just want to like increase her salary, go for it. I'm not going to
Hmm.
stop that because at the end of the day, it's going to benefit me as well. It's going to benefit our son. So at the end of the day, I don't want her to be in the house because I know I watched her for a whole year be in the house, waiting for the papers to come through and everything else. She looked miserable, and I'm like, damn, you need to get out the house.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm more the hey, whatever you want to do, I support you 100%. But also understand that hey, we're here for each other first.
Now it sounds like that y'all personalities complement each other.
Yeah, it does.
And I think, and that's one of the main things that I want to drive home is that because hypothetically you could have been married to my wife and it could have been great.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So that's why I said there's nothing wrong with her. There's nothing wrong with me. It's about basically being on the same page. The only problem is that, and I said this before, that the type of woman that I want to marry is in the minority. you
yeah,
know, and so it's gonna be harder. It's gonna take longer, and I'll say like a lot of the guys that subscribe to the Passport Bro movement, or to a further extent, if themselves red pill, the type of woman that type of woman that we want to marry is in the minority, and so it is going to be harder. It is going to take longer, and to Cortez's point, feminism is spreading, and some guys can deal with it, and some guys can't. You know, what I mean, that's why we're having this conversation.
I think
Um,
for me, you know, I'm a first generation immigrant that lives in the United States. You know, I came from nothing, so I understand how important it is to go out and
yeah,
better yourself. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can.
Okay. So I understand the importance of bettering yourself. raised by a single mother, like four sisters. And so watching them do their thing, it was kind of impressive for them to achieve what we achieved, especially where we came from initially. So for me, I never really wanted someone to be like catering to me because I always been catered to. Part of my culture, the Haitian culture,
Mhm.
it's kind of expected. The woman will always cater to you, but also too, as a man, you are responsible for taking care of the home. It's really no
Right.
different than what most families go through here in the United States. And with her being Dominican, I'm Haitian. Our cultures are very similar. Um, I mean, it's kind of interesting. Her mother was here. She spent 3 months with us. Her mother was cooking food. I'm like, I'm telling her mom, like, hey, this is the same food my mom cooks. And
Hmm.
just to see the family structure and how we communicate and how we interact is very similar. So yeah, you got to find someone that's going to be closely aligned to what you want, but also to take your time. Like I always tell guys, my girl and I, yeah, the reason why it seems like we have a beautiful thing is 10 years. Some
Now,
people
do
think
you?
that.
Oh, not to cut you off, but do you think that if you would have married her in year two of y'all knowing each other, do you think the marriage would have lasted?
I don't know. That's a good question because again, at the time when I met her, I was going through my own situation, and I kind
Mhm.
of told her. She knew that, hey, I just got out of a situation. I'm not interested in being in a relationship now. We could be friends. I'll come by and visit you here and there, but I was not emotionally and mentally ready for that. But after years 5, 6, I knew like instantly, like, yeah, I want to be with this person. So we did everything we needed to do, prepare things. During COVID kind of made the relationship even strong because I was stuck in DR. So I
Mhm.
was forced to live with her. I was forced to live with her. I was forced to learn, okay, this is not a vacation now. We're actually living together. And so learning the good, the bad. Of course, everyone has their own unique ways that you may not like, but you learn how to
Mhm.
deal with them. And with her, it's not too many things that I don't like. If anything, it's a lot of things that I do that pisses her off. And again, I own up to it. I own up to like, yeah, I need to do better on that. But at the end of the day, man, it's like I love seeing my wife, man. I come home, I love
Mhm.
seeing her, I love seeing my kids together. Um, it's just like she always reassures me, like, hey, go for this, go for that. Let's do it. Let's do this, let's do that. That's cool, man. And it's like I don't think I would be able to actually have a long distance relationship, particularly a marriage overseas, because I like coming home to my family. And
Yeah.
bro, you know me for a while, man. I've done everything overseas, man. So
Mhm.
sometimes I feel like I'm missing it. Then I realize I ain't missing the goddamn thing. But overall, I always tell guys take their time, don't rush it. Um, make sure the person that you want is something that you really want and you're able to actually keep. Because again, sometimes we get fascinated with the big ass, the titties, and the pretty face, and sex is good. But all that fades away, man. And you start realizing, okay, there's a person behind that. Can I
Right.
deal with this person? Can I be around this person on a consistent basis? And not everyone's meant to be married. I have some friends who live the bachelor life here in the United States. They live in
Mhm.
the good life. You know what? That life's for them. But for me, I never like being single is cool. But I love coming home and seeing my kids, seeing my wife. I love that. But
Let me let me, let me
go
let
ahead.
me ask Big Tez a question. Or
Yeah.
Big Tez a question.
Yes, sir.
So, since you met somebody that was already in the U.S., do you think just based off what you known or what you've seen others go through, do you think that passport bros should consider seeking women from another culture within the United States?
Okay. So yeah, I've been around this space, and I've made many friends over the years, stuff like that. I would say if you're okay with the outcome of it not working out, go ahead, right? Who am I to tell any man what he should or shouldn't do, right? Personally, but if you ask me, I would say I don't think it's wise, but that's up to that individual. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I would say I don't think it's wise, but if you do it, do you. I wish you luck and go ahead, but I would not personally do that.
Gotcha, gotcha. Now you know some. Well, people. There are people that are religious, so I mean, there are people gonna have religious reasons why they want to get married as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. And I agree with Black Man Travels too. Like, take your time, get to know this person. You know, me, I was moving way too fast. You know, yeah, take your time. And if she want to bounce, if she ain't rocking with you no more, let her leave. She wasn't for you. You know, take your time, move when you want to move.
Like I said, I'm good on marriage. I just don't have the energy to sit. Let me answer some of these questions that was put out there. Um, uh, Nobel War Prize. I think he asked this. I think this was for you, Black Man Travel. He said, "Were there any cultural differences you had to overcome?"
No, not really. The Haitian culture and Dominican culture, like I said before, is very similar. We literally share the same island. So from the food, our a way of being, our interaction is very similar. The only thing was just really getting used to like the little quirks of certain behaviors. Everyone has that. But besides that, you learn over the years. And one thing too, like I always advise guys, if you got a girl, travel with your girl. Like my girl and I, we've been to like 4 countries together. Took her to Colombia, took her to El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize. Again, I'm taking sand on the beach. I mean, I gave no excuse where to go and Bosco.
Mhm.
And so it's like it's like for me to get to know somebody, I got to be around you. I got to talk to you. I got to understand who you are. And by traveling, we were able to do that. Like even when she came to the States, taking her to New York. And I always tell her every time, like, hey, listen, if you ever want to leave, you feel like, hey, this situation doesn't work for you, let me know. Because I don't have a problem ending the relationship. It's like, hey, of course, we'll go through our whole divorce process, whatever. But just let's be as transparent as possible.
Okay. So Big Mike also he asked. He said, "Question to the panel: Would you move to a conservative society or country to meet the woman of your dreams?" I would say, yes, but for me, there's no country better than the United States. I would, but it's no country, better than the United States when it comes to the things that's important to me. Um, Now I am, going to be visiting Ethiopia, and I'll get into that a little later. Um, so for me, yes, I guess in a nutshell, yes. Um, Same question to you guys as well.
I mean, my personality, I'm somewhat conservative, but I'm also somewhat liberal. So for me, my travels were never focused around women. I travel, have a great time, and if I meet someone in the process, cool. But I wouldn't per se travel to a conservative society just to meet a woman. Like I'd probably go just to experience the culture and everything else and keep it moving. But I've always been a strong believer, hey, if things happen, things happen.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah, for myself, I think it could work. I think where a person grows up, their culture, it determines a lot. Their value system, all of those types of things, and I think you were on to something. No excuse when you were talking about the influence of religion and how that helps mold a person. Now, I'm not saying that's going to keep them 100% accountable because a lot of people may profess, certain religions and their actions are different than what they profess. But I think if you can find someone with that background, you kind of understand the baseline of their morals, what they believe, kind of like their value system a little bit. So I think that might be a good way to go,
Okay, Noble
as
War.
opposed to a more like liberal society. Like some of the stuff I see in Brazil, like I'll talk about my case.
Yeah,
So some of the stuff I see in Brazil, it's like it's very liberal. But like my ex, she came from a conservative background, so they weren't with all of that same type of stuff you might see in like Rio or Sao Paulo. So it's like a little bit of a different type of vibe.
Hmm.
The Nobel Prize said, "Did any of you ever consider marrying an American woman in the past?" I mean, for myself, yeah. I mean, I wanted to, but I just, I just couldn't get past the finish line. Like, I was engaged before. I was engaged a couple of times in the United States, actually, but it was just things that just couldn't get me through it. But yeah, for me, I did consider it in the past.
Actually, I was married to a Black American woman, from Mississippi, living in Chicago. So, things were great. Just things that didn't work out. Ended up getting two sons out of her, and to this day, we're good friends. It's funny how our relationship got rekindled after the divorce, and now it's like the co-parenting is A+.
Mm.
Like, so never like I never really had issues with women here in the States, man. Like I hear some of the stories of what a lot of guys go through. I'm like, damn, I never experienced that. So it all boils down to the type of people the type of people you attract. But yeah, I was married to a sister, and she had to learn my culture. I had to learn her culture. And that's why I support the whole FBA movement. And yeah, I'm not against it, man. It's like you find a good woman, it doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah, I say for myself, I've never entertained the idea of marrying an American chick. Because I started traveling at 20, man. It's kind of funny. Black Man Travels. The first place I went was DR back in 2010, and I was in college at the time. And when I got back to the campus here in the States, I was like, yeah, I just wasn't even attracted to the chicks on campus no more after going to DR. So I'm like, yeah, I just can't do it. So it's like, yeah, I got a taste of something different, and I just never look back. So I deal with different females here, but none of them have ever shown anything to where I'm like, yeah, I want to wife her up, like my ex or anything. Yeah,
Mm. The Pathfinder Johnny said, "I've been following you for a while, no excuse. Your personality seems like you might fit better with Asian women, but they ain't got no ass, man." But you know what though? I think well, I think that there's a lot of directions I could go with this. I think that not just myself. I think a lot of black men um, find peace with women that are less masculine, less confrontational, less aggressive, and those tend to be women from races that you know Asians, white women, for example. Some Latinas could get feisty. They get down with they just like the sisters, man. So you know, but yeah, I could see that. I've seen it with white women as well. I just never been attracted to them like from a relationship standpoint. But I will say this: what guys have been seeing in Africa with some of these passport bros, what guys been seeing, in a lot of situations, especially guys dealing with quote unquote black women, a lot of guys are like they got confirmation with their dating choices now. Like a lot of them is like, okay, maybe they kind of felt like maybe they should try to stick with black women, but a lot of guys, they're happy, they're at peace with dating non-black women, and the way I'm seeing, because I'm traveling the world, the way I'm seeing this black women worldwide, even Ethiopians that are liberal, that are not religious, like everybody picks up on this liberalism, materialism. Black women worldwide, I don't know what it is. I don't know if black women have felt like they've been deprived so long from material things, but they have a strong desire for materialism, a stronger desire than I see even with white women or other groups of women. It's just crazy. Like it's a I want mentality with a lot of black women, and it's to the point where they are never going to be satisfied because their actions show like they have been deprived for so long that they just finally have access to different men or things like that.
I disagree. I have to push back on that.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I was raised in Miami, so I'm used to seeing baddies. I didn't have to travel to see baddies. I went to the University of Miami. I was exposed to that shit early. um, that gold digging mentality, man, that's all women, bro. I mean, I think it really depends on who you're around and who you associate with the most. But I see a lot of the money hunger thing happening with white women, Hispanic women in South Florida. Um, yeah. So I don't think it just only pertains to black women. It's just I think it's all women. Some women tend to hide it better than others, but at the end of the day, you can't really fault them. Because women want things. That's how it is. And but at the end of the day, don't if they don't use that to define who they are, they're okay. But
Yeah. I mean, all women are like that though. But you know, I I've been around the block enough times to know like there's different levels. Like there may be a lot of white women that like material things, but what percentage of white women is that compared to the percentage of black women? It seems like most black women want the same things. It seems, you know what I mean. So you could find a. I've worked in corporate America. You could find a pretty blonde, blue hair, look like she's from Alabama, sweet. You know, she not, yeah, maybe she would love to be married to the CEO or one of the top executives, but she doesn't live her lifestyle in a lifestyle of materialism. It's typically simple.
you should talk to some of your white colleagues and ask them that question because I hear something completely different.
Yeah, I don't, but you don't see it though. I mean, when it comes to, I'll put it like just we could just take women out the we could take women out the equation. Let's just say black people, right? Even in the United States, black people probably got more luxury shit than the average white person. Men, women, Louis bags. How many white dudes you done seen wearing, Gucci Louis belts?
But also too, you have to understand, black folks come from poverty. Majority of
Right.
black folks come from poverty, so we want to seek those material things to show wealth. White people do not come from poverty, so they don't have to show their wealth. They can walk around with Converse and some jeans and a t-shirt and be okay with that. We as black people, we feel like we need to show our wealth. Just because you
That's
make six figures, you want to go drive a Range Rover.
that's my
While
point.
that,
That's my
while
point
but
though.
that's black men and what that applies to black men and black women.
Right. Right. And that's why, some men, their personality may not align with black culture when it comes to that mentality. And you see a lot of guys saying, you know what, I'm black. There are some things about black culture that I love, but the material aspect of black culture, I'm not attracted to. And let me see a big Tez. You got anything you want to chime in?
Yeah. I want to interject real quick. So
Go.
I agree with both of you guys, right? So I've personally never experienced anybody like a female or whatever trying to be like money hungry with me, asking me for stuff. But I can see the materialism from the outside, and I know that that people are out there that want those things, but I've never experienced it personally. But because a lot of us come from lower economic backgrounds, we operate in a scarcity mindset. So we never had a lot, so therefore you have something to prove. Your ask is going to be bigger. You know what I'm saying? Versus the other people, they'd rather have the money in the bank, put that into assets as opposed to, driving that BMW or that Benz or something like that. So, I agree with you that that white woman in Alabama is okay if her husband is a plumber. You know what I'm saying? Versus, you know, maybe the system may not be okay if you're a plumber. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe she grew up poor. So she needs to, jump up an economic level.
Right.
So what they trying to do is throw a Hail Mary at the end of the game and try to win. But it's better just to play the game smart in the first place
Nah, that's facts.
and just level up slowly over time like everybody else does. But a lot of us, they just looking for a come up.
That's facts.
But any
Cortez,
smart brother with his head on right is going to avoid those type of women because he already see her moves, like where she coming from.
those are facts. Cortez, he got a good point that materialism in the black community at this point is from women. Guys buy these clothes and cars only because women want it. I agree. I agree. I agree. This is my kind of like dilemma, right? Because nobody is right or wrong in a situation. Black man travels. You talked about earlier about being ambitious, having drive. Wanting to do more and more. Um, some guys want kind of the simple life because it was a it was a TikTok. I think I did a stream and I played a TikTok of a woman. I don't know if I still got that TikTok, but basically she divorced her man. She divorced her. She said all good things about this man, but she said she divorced him because basically wanted to. he was comfortable where he was at. And I think I had played a clip about a woman from Uganda that married a man. He was making over six figures and she wanted more. And she ended up becoming she ended up becoming a millionaire because of her ambition, which is great. So he could have held her back if she would have, just followed his lead to a certain extent. Um, and and I'm speaking as a Black American. I'm speaking for myself, but I'm speaking as a Black American too. And it kind of comes to when people used to kind of look at, like, say, Black Americans as kind of being not taking advantage of certain things or being lazy, or whatever the case may be. And it was a woman that had broken down eloquently. Sometimes people have worked so much and so hard to get to a certain point, and people get tired. Like, yeah, I mean, so, some people have bust their ass, and the best they came up with is 60K a year. And if you're a woman that is like, okay, we here, babe, but I want you to go to the next level. Like, that nigga might be tired. His soul might be tired. He might be carrying a burden of being the first person that graduated college, or the first person that started their own business, or the first person that graduated from high school. Like, especially men in the U.S., we carry so much. Not only will we go through in our life, we carry a lot of historical baggage too, and it's kind of it's kind of hard because, like, I could say, okay, I've accomplished all these things, right? I've traveled all these places, right? Let's say you done travel to 100 countries, you make good money, you meet a woman, she like, so, like, for example, right? I'm at the point right now where I don't really want to travel that much. Now I meet a woman and now she like, oh, okay, let's go to these countries, let's go to this country. I'm just kind of like, man, I'm tired, man. Like, I done did all this, that, you know. She want, so sometimes us men, we get to a point and we cool. Wherever we at, we cool, we good. We want a woman that's simple, that's cool where we at. But that's hard to find. There's nothing wrong with being ambitious. There's nothing wrong with having an ambitious woman. But what if you're a man that's content with where you're at? Is there anything wrong with that, fellas? If you're content with where you're at, why can't you? What I mean, shouldn't it be a woman for men like that too?
I agree. I agree. Like if you good where you're at, you know, that's good. You deserve rest. But this is the caveat that I've been realizing. That chick who's gonna be okay with that, she's probably not going to look the way that you're used to. You might
Yeah.
have to sacrifice a little bit. So for that peace of mind, she might be a strong 6 or 7. She's not going to be the baddie. Because I just from my experience, the baddies just come with a lot of baggage, man.
It's kind of funny when you say that. Hey, when a guy feels like he's good where he's at, so when your girl is good where she's at 200 pounds, you should be okay with that as well. I mean, she's happy. She's happy where she's at in life. She feels like, hey, she's tired. So fuck it. I'm gonna let myself go. Would you be okay with that?
Well, that's apples and oranges. She didn't work to that wasn't a goal.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, we we strive for things. Women strive to look their best.
I mean, to your point, okay, yeah, if she, she used to go to the gym and she used to do this, and she's wore out from maintaining herself, and she get to a point where she's just like, man, I just fuck
Yeah,
it, I just want to be. If you're married, you gotta first of all, if you're married, you gotta accept the good, the bad, and the ugly, you know. But the difference in that situation is men typically stay in those situations, you know.
yeah, but
For
they stay in those situations, but they're not happy. Like, why put yourself in that situation? So it's like, hey, well, it's nothing wrong. You always striving to become a better version of yourself, either physically, mentally, financially, whatever. Find that person that has that same energy. If you're on that content stage, be okay finding that woman that's currently in that content stage as well. So
that's gonna be an eight. That's gonna be an eight. That might be an age thing too. Because I mean, let's say a man gets burnt out. Let's just say he gets burnt out by age 35. I'm just throwing out a number, right? Let's just say some men get burnt out by 35. A woman that's gonna be burnt out, she might be mid 30s, 40s too. So now the idea of being with, like to Big Ted's point, being with a younger woman kind of goes out the window because the young women aren't burnt out yet. They got a lot of ideas, ambitions. They ain't exhausted all their ideas yet.
but here's the thing, right? A lot of older guys want young women, but they can't keep up with a young woman.
That's true.
It's like,
That's
oh, I
true.
want this baddie, whatever, but yet your ass like two burgers away from catching a heart stroke. Like, so it's just kind of it's funny. It's just like, hey, just become the best version of yourself. Always strive to that, and the woman that you select as your mate will probably do the same exact thing.
Let's see,
Like
Cortez.
I give you a perfect example. My girl, we just had our son,
Hmm.
and he's 2 years old. She lost a lot of weight. She got back to her original size, but now she's like, yo, I want to look more muscular, like more muscle tone. I'm like, all right,
Hmm.
go for it. It's just like, all right. She gave herself a new challenge physically. Guess what? I'm always gonna be attracted to that because she's always trying to better herself. If she were to say, you know what, I had your kid, now hey, it's what it is. I'm gonna let myself go. I wouldn't like that. And same goes for me. It's like she look at me, she's like, no, I see you picking up weight. I don't like that. All right, cool. I need to make those changes. And I think that's I think that's what makes a relationship work, man. Just being brutally honest with each other, but also recognizing that, hey, you can't get comfortable.
Oh, let me catch up on some of these chats real quick. Cortez said y'all got the wrong idea about Alabama. When I went to Alabama, what was it? One of my guys stayed in where the Crimson Tide plays. Or no, Auburn. I seen some fine, fine white women in Auburn. But that's another conversation. The Nobel Prize said I mostly dated white women because of my state population, Minnesota. Yeah, yeah, you can't. Yeah, Minnesota is definitely known for interracial dating. But is there a major difference between courting a Latina and an American black woman? I mean, I lived in major cities. Every city is different on how easy or challenging it could be. So I think it just depends on the city. Um, I think for I only can speak for myself. The only difference for me of what I could attain in the U.S. is younger and a step up attractive. So let's just say I could pull the baddest I could probably pull in the U.S. is an 8. You know, overseas it could probably be a 9. Or let's just say the youngest chick that I could generally, have a genuine relationship with, maybe a 10-year age gap is probably the average. Overseas, it could be 15. So you just get your range of looks and age increases. That's just the only difference, I could say for myself. Let's see. Kenny said that's what you get from marrying a liberal woman. At best, just get someone that's conservative and stick to the program. Um, facts. When you at peace, when you find peace, life is complete. No wife, happy life. Hey, that's a new one. No wife, happy life. He said I seen some nice looking 200-pound women. Yeah, they probably like tall. I hope they tall. He said depends on location. I guess the best looking women I've seen were not necessarily content, but they were on this fake hyper ambitious stuff that most uh so-called baddies are on. Yeah. Good night, Kenny. Let's see. Said the women that I have dated all have been professional. They were ambitious and successful and feminine in the bedroom, but I left them because they lack traits that I think would make a good wife. Yeah, same for me. Same for me. When he said keep up with that, he talking about Cialis. He said the thickest woman I've ever seen in my life was a country girl from Wisconsin in my home state. He said, yeah, there's a lot of good looking women in Alabama, but they act more like big city women than guys think. Yeah, that's true. Um, I wanted to mention something else too. Um, just looking through my notes real quick. Where am I at? Yeah, another thing I noticed about marriage, with a lot of women, even in the US, is that one of my frat brothers was telling me this. He said some women feel trapped once they sign that piece of paper. Like a lot of situations, like you see couples they've been together 5 years, 10 years, and then they get married and they divorce like after 1 year or two. And even in my situation, even though Colombians typically don't culturally they don't change their last name, um, I did find it kind of odd that my wife she was reluctant, even though she changed her last name, she was reluctant to, and maybe that's something I should have looked at strongly, but some women do feel trapped when they sign that piece of paper. I don't know. Some guys do as well, but it's just crazy how people can be cool dating, and as soon as you sign that piece of paper, if this feeling comes over people. Um, it's hard to it's hard to grasp that. Um, what else I want to mention? A lot of women get validation from being chosen to be wives and having a wedding as well. Because sometimes the question to women is like, if you felt like, I think a lot of, because women divorce 80% of the time. I think a lot of women go into marriage and knowing that this person is not their ideal mate, and for whatever reason they proceed with it. And that's why I commend a lot of women now. When women say they don't want to get married, I commend women for being, especially Black women, for being vocal about that, because I think a lot of divorces or marriages wouldn't have happened if women just kind of just being real with themselves and say, you know what, stay, saying no to a proposal. You know,
Yeah, if you don't mind, I wanted to
yeah, go
kind
ahead.
of
Go ahead.
present something. So you just mentioned the fact that a lot of women are saying they don't want to get married, right?
Hmm.
So with that, because everybody knows, like kind of traditional marriages, traditional gender roles, stuff like that, those have kind of taken a back seat as women have gotten, of course, more rights. They're entering the workforce, achieving, in a at a fast and rapid rate. It's not uncommon to meet many women who make more money than their male counterparts. So, from the perspective of the guy, if his wife isn't traditional, what it like? I'm kind of looking at it like, what's the point in getting married outside of a religious conviction? So if a
Exactly.
guy's expecting like, okay, I'm gonna have a someone who takes care of me in a good like, she keeps the house maintained, she's pouring into the children in a certain type of way that he feels fit, what is the incentive for men to even get married these days if you have a wife who may or may not cook,
Right.
she may or may not do laundry, she may have minimal time to actually pour into your kids. So it's like I feel like this is like a natural result of that. So she'd rather be married to work, and then now you're at home doing your thing, But it's like it's kind of like, what's the point?
Exactly. Do you feel like the onus should be more on men to just kind of see red flags, or do you think the onus is more on women to be like, you know what, I really don't want to be the wife that you envision for yourself?
I don't quite understand your question. Can you rephrase it?
Okay, do you think the onus is on women to like, let's say if a guy describes the type of wife that he wants, which a lot of guys do, if the onus on women to be like, you know what, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not the woman, for you, regardless of how much fun we have, et cetera, et cetera. Is the onus on a woman to just protect that man from himself, or is the
Nah, nah.
onus on the man to just see the red flags and just be strong enough to walk away?
It's up to the guy, man, because it's your life. It all starts and ends with you, right? What you allow to come through your filter. So, from my perspective, like my ex-wife, for example, she did everything that I needed her to do as far as being a wife. So if I ever wanted to go back into that, it would be a plug and play situation. I know what I'm gonna get, type of thing. One of the main reasons why I haven't been interested in dating another American woman is because I literally do not see anything that I would want that's attractive to make me want to get on one knee again like I did the first time.
Mm,
It's not even close. So it's like I know what I'm looking for. I know what the standard is. I haven't even seen anything close to that.
mm,
Yeah. So, but I don't. I have personally have friends that are married. Some of them are happily married. Some of them are not. But
mm.
it just kind of is. Like I know there are people here getting married every day, but it's just not what I want. Like I wouldn't want to kind of entertain the type of situation they're entertaining. It's just like it's just not hitting. Like it's not hitting on nothing.
Now, do you having children? Are you not ready to have children, or not interested in having children?
Me personally, nah, I don't have like a strong conviction to have children. Nah.
Okay.
But if I did, I would want it to be like within a marital type of situation or long term relationship type of thing. But I'm
Okay.
still
Okay.
young, I got time. So
That's true. That's true. He said white women are born keeping the bug outside the bed is kind of lame. Let's see. He said women don't work any more today than they did, 30, 40 years ago. The media pushes that propaganda to excuse them from for being single. They're really just dating multiple men. That's true. He said the purpose of marriage is family, not the other stuff. If you don't want a family, there's no point of getting married. It's futile. Somebody brought up a comment I thought was pretty good. Let me see, where was this at? Yeah, I kind of agree with something the Pathfinder said. He said I have a preference for black women, but there have been quality women that I passed up on because of skin color. I feel like I passed up on women as well because of that. He said if I was more open, I'm pretty sure I'd already be married. And Cortez, I don't think most of these women have a real ideal mate. I think they view relationships as temporary, even marriages. Yeah, he said if y'all had a son, what would you guys tell what what would you guys tell him about women in marriage? I mean, I have a son. I mean, Black Man Travels met him too. I've shared, he knows, he knows my viewpoint on certain things. I tell him first of all, don't it's in the states, do not get a woman pregnant. That's one of the main traps. Guys could fall for. I would tell my son or any young man, protect your seed at all costs. Um, and I would say with marriage, I would say you want a woman from a religion that where um, the religion holds her accountable. And so I'm going to speak on you know the two biggest religions, Islam and Christianity. I would say that for Islam, if put it like this, if I was Muslim, I wouldn't seek a Muslim woman in the United States because you can't really fully be a Muslim. Like you can't really, you know, do Muslim things in the U.S. like you can in Muslim states. Whether it's polygamy, you know, Sharia law. If that's something that you would subscribe to if you're Muslim. There's just a lot of restriction. You're restricted in your religion in the U.S. So if I was a Muslim, I wouldn't even want to marry a woman in the United States, even if she was a Muslim. I would probably want a woman from, a Muslim society where, you know, you can freely be a Muslim, if that makes any sense. Now, Christianity, there's different denominations. In my opinion, the Protestant church, which is what most of us are familiar with, um, the Protestant church, I feel like is failed, especially when it comes to marriage. The Protestant church hasn't held women accountable. That's why you see more women in church than men. And I could go on and on and on. Catholic church, I don't know too much about, but they do have structure. I don't subscribe to Catholicism, but there are men there. Statistically, I've read men have left Protestant Christianity and they have converted to more ancient religions, Catholics being one of them. There is some accountability in the Catholic Church for women that believe in it. I've met 304s from Medellin that was Catholic. They go to church on Sunday and they in Parque Jerez on Saturday. So you got to vet within that situation. I'm currently, I don't like to say I'm currently, but I'm Orthodox Christian. Which a lot of the Ethiopians are Orthodox. There are a couple other um, Orthodox churches, and they similar to the Catholics in certain aspects as far as having structure and having accountability when it comes to marriage and things like that. So um, it's probably I'll talk about it more in detail, like over time. But it's kind of a new concept because in America, most of us are familiar with Protestant based Christianity, which isn't working at all. So I would say, in a nutshell, I would tell any young man if you seek a marriage, seek a woman that's from a religion that you know holds marriage and women accountable, particularly. What about you guys? What would you tell um, your son or a young man about women or marriage?
Well, I have a son. He's 22 years old. I told him, hey, take your time. Take your time. He just started traveling. Yeah, he's getting his passport life experience. He went to Japan, Colombia, DR, and I'm like, yo, live your life. Focus on living the best version you could be. Uh, Find a good profession or a business that you want to focus on, and don't get a woman pregnant. And it's like, hey, when it's time for you, once you are ready, you think that you're ready for marriage, and something that you want to explore, but don't rush it. So I guess he's following me right now. He's pretty much following the same blueprint that I lived,
Hmm.
and I encourage it. But you know what? If you decide, hey, you know what, Dad, I want to get married, I won't be against it. If you decide to marry to a sister or someone in the, someone within the United States or outside, go for it, man. I'm not gonna say marriage is not for everybody. Um, no, I'm not gonna say marriage is for everybody. But if he wants to pursue that, I mean, I'm not gonna discourage him from not doing it.
Okay.
Yeah, for myself, if I had a son, which I don't, or just anybody that I care about, just a younger brother than me, I would just tell them, think long and hard about, why you're doing what you're doing. If you feel the conviction to do that, go ahead, but just consider all aspects of it. And I would ask them a lot of relevant questions too, just to see where their head is at,
Hmm.
and you know. But at the end of the day, a man is gonna make his own choices, So I would just try to, have them consider all different sides of everything, and just kind of go from there.
That's true. That's true. You know what's crazy is that when I'm thinking about like what I've learned for myself and learned about myself now, and I ask myself, what advice could someone have gave me? And I can't really think of no advice. Like I literally had to experience on my own. Like there wasn't not going to be no one to say, man, maybe you should travel to this country, or you should look into this religion, or nobody could have really gave me that. You know what I mean? Like, y'all ever play bumper pool, or know where bumper pool is?
Nah.
It's like pool table, but they have like things that are stationary, and it like it's like a pool, but it's not. But it's like obstacles in a way. But you know, that's kind of how you go through life. You zigzag, you bump into something, and it puts you in a different direction. And I think I had to go through that. And I think a lot of guys had to go through that, because there is advice that some there is a guy where there's no advice you can give him. He's just gonna have to learn himself the best way he can through experience. You know, Nobel Prize said, "What is the best continent for marriage?" That is, I. There's no answer for that. There's no answer for that. I would be leading guys astray if I say this continent. I can't say Asia. I can't say Africa. I can't say North America. I can't say South America. I can't even say a country. Um, I can't even say a country. I will say, let me. I will say this: the only country, the only countries that, and I'm speaking from a religious context. If there's a lot of Islamic State countries, right? So let's say if I was talking to, so if it was a Muslim country, it would be a lot of Middle Eastern countries, right? But a lot of due to cultural reasons, it might not even be, it couldn't be an option. You know what I mean? Because you may not be, you're not Arab or things like that. But hypothetically, I would say the best country would be an uh, Islamic state or a Christian state. The only Christian state that I'm aware of is Armenia. So Armenia, Kim Kardashian is Armenia, just to put it in perspective. But Armenia is pretty much a Christian state. Um, So technically, you know, Armenia would be a country you definitely could find a wife if you interested in their culture, the women, and things like that. He said, "Do black men have access to young, high quality women outside of our race?" My answer would be no, because I see them with fat and embarrassing white women a lot. I see a lot of quality, high quality women outside my race. Like I've worked around a lot of Indians, for example, but a lot of them tend to be already married. But I would say that they definitely are high quality to a certain extent. White women, um, yeah, there's access, but um, I think a lot of guys haven't, like Pathfinder said, a lot of guys like not never even gave these women a chance because they've just been so into black women. You know what I mean? Like if it was, there's a lot of women I've encountered outside my race that were interested, and they're all married now. You know what I mean? They're like, okay, this nigga not interested, and they found somebody else. So, um, you know, you
I'll say
said,
this.
go ahead.
Um, I think a lot of guys need to just focus on traveling and living their best lives. Stop focusing on trying to meet women and trying to like this whole marriage stuff. If marriage is not on your mind right now, why even talk about it?
Mm,
Like go out there, see the world, experience it for what it is. Granted, if you meet someone in the process, cool, explore it and see where it goes. But a lot of guys talk about this marriage topic. You're not even close to getting married. Better yet, even having a woman yet. So like just go out there, live your best life, travel the world, man. Travel doesn't have to revolve around a woman all the time, man. Just go out there, see what's out there. Now, granted, just make yourself available where if an opportunity does present itself, you take advantage of it. But yeah, man, because like for me, all the countries that I've been to, I never allowed women to be the focus, man. It's like it was just kind of like the cherry on the cake, man. It's like I went out there, had a great time, mingle, smile, have a great time, and that's it, man. And it's just like never intent to get married. It just happened.
I was surprised. I was like, when I found that, I was surprised. I was like, wow, okay, they actually did it, and so yeah, it can happen when you least expect it, man. So this is something kind of positive news. So I went to so in Philadelphia, um, there's like a Ethiopian Orthodox church, right? There's a lot of Ethiopians and Eritreans in the United States, Minnesota, DC, Atlanta, California, Texas. They have different places where there's large groups. Philadelphia, not so much, but it's enough of them. And so in like in like Catholic Church or Orthodox Church, you have a priest, but how it looks is different from Catholic to Orthodox, right? But basically, you have a priest that you have a relationship with. You confess your sins. They try to steer you. They're like a shepherd, and they know since you since you talk to this person a lot, they know you. They know your good, bad, and ugly, right? And so I'm saying that to say is that when it comes to getting married, right? So one of the one of the pillars of the church is marriage. They don't want to see people single, and they play matchmaker. Matchmaker happens a lot, and we talk about back in the day where, let's say, the father or the men or the uncles were involved in mate selection. Even the Indians I work with, most of the Indian women were in arranged marriages. Most of them say, I ask, they share their experiences. A lot of them are happy because their parents know who they are. A lot of times their parents know what's good for them. Um, and so physical attraction, that could be the only hurdle in some arranged situation. But for the most part, a lot of women are happy with the man that they pick them, and vice versa. So I'm saying that all that to say is that, so I had went to last time I was at the church. I was telling them, I said, hey, I'm gonna be traveling all through East Africa. You know, I was like, should I be looking for a wife while I'm in East Africa or in the US? And they was like, man, you should get somebody here. They was like, they were like, it's a lot of women. They basically was like plotting, like, we got a couple of women we think would be a good match for you. And so it was kind of funny, but I was just like, wow, you know, it's probably women I would never, just naturally run into at the mall or just out and about. But you have people in the church that know these women front and back. They know they good, bad, and they ugly. Um, they know their commitment, and if somebody is, they're putting their credentials out to say, you know what, I think this person be a good match for you, and vice versa. I think that's a great thing to have people that can, so quote unquote, match make in that situation. So I I have I'm optimistic on that there are options for me in the U.S. as well as possibly abroad. But I was kind of surprised that they was like, you should get somebody here versus over there. I was kind of surprised about that. Yeah, I'm just going through the chat, fellas. If y'all want to add anything or say anything, the mic is
So,
open.
so what are your thoughts on what Pathfinder just said right here?
What, most women run circles around the average man?
Yeah, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's true. Um, it's true, and something I had in my notes, but I didn't have a really opportunity to bring it up. But one thing I've learned, right, and men that I have a brother, and I hope he's not watching this, but I have a brother, right, and he's married, and his wife be talking, his wife be having, she's a woman, right? They be emotional, they're she's acting like Steph Curry's wife. He makes money,
Mm,
he does everything, and she feels like she's the C list. He's the A lister. She feels like she's the C lister. And my brother is my brother he's highly attractive. Most women would consider he's highly attractive. When he was at my wedding, all the women was like, "Oh, that's your brother." That's So my brother, so he makes good income, and he's always, attracted women. And I noticed a pattern with women when it comes to situations like women love situations where they feel like they have the upper hand, because if a man is average, they know that they feel like she's not easily replaced. They're not worried about other women as competition as much, and they just have a higher level of confidence. They can shit test these men. Men that are attract, not just money, men that have money and highly attractive women can't do that with. And so my takeaway from this statement is that women, some women, because of their insecurities, they prefer average men so they can run circles around these men. Um, so I said a lot, but that's kind of like my thoughts around that.
yeah, I was gonna say I agree 100%. I think the average guy is just trying to, he's playing catch up, right? So he's playing defense, she's playing offense, and it could be so subtle, so subconscious, you know. and not even that they're doing it intentionally, but just by nature, I feel like women are always trying to exert their will on you, and you have to be smart enough to catch it and stand on your square and move forward in where you need to go. And then she can either be moving where you need to go or she can't, but that's where the friction comes in. So I feel like you need a woman that's 100% in your frame. So, like, if I were Steph Curry, I would just cut my losses and just get rid of Aisha Curry because she's already a cancer that's in stage 1. Is going to progress into a. He just needs to go ahead and cut it now because she's already. She's too far gone now.
Yeah,
And it's going to hurt to go ahead and cut it off, but you might have to cut your finger off to save the hand. You know what I'm saying?
that's true. I mean, she basically don't want to be with him, but she'll feel stupid not to. So it's like she's trapped internally within herself,
Yeah,
being
yeah,
with
yeah.
somebody, you know.
Yeah, pretty much. And, she just been doing so much, like, just different stuff, but it's so disrespectful, And Steph is like a stand up guy, I mean, if a guy who is conventionally attractive with over 200 million net worth can't get his woman to act release respectful in public, I mean, what chance do you got?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you just got to, at the end of the day, man, I feel like what makes a man is his own moral conviction, how he's moving, how he views himself, and, yeah, I just have to get rid of her, man. I'll just be honest. I just cut the check, keep it moving.
Yeah, man. It's tough to figure these women out because it's different scenarios. It's like it's no one size fit all type of like.
But no excuse, though. Here's the thing. It ain't your job to figure them out. You just got to focus on what you doing.
That's
And then
true.
if you can find one who going to follow you and, you know, say, hey, I'm team no excuse, that's cool. But at the moment, if you see she's not, you just got to cut your losses.
That's true, man. That's true. It's damn near like what Steph didn't see this coming. They dated since high school, man. He didn't see this coming, you know.
Yeah, but her issues are deep inside of her, though.
Right.
So it's not his job to fix her issues. She need to, honestly, she need to go to therapy, for real, for real. But at the end of the day, he can only control what what he can control. You know what I'm saying? So it's like sometimes you just get a bad hand, man. Even if it's 15 years down the line.
That's true.
They've been together almost 20 years.
That's true. I've heard people say this too. Like sometimes you did make the right decision on who you picked. You didn't do anything wrong. People can change, you know.
Yeah, that's facts.
He said child support will be a lot for Steph. Man, at this point, man, probably his peace of mind. His peace of mind, man. He said Steph did see it coming according to his own words. He ignored it because of infatuations, man. So she hooked him. She hooked him somehow. You know, she hooked him somehow. You know, even LeBron James, I heard he talk about his marriage. You know, he said it ain't been peachy and creamy. You know.
Yeah, but I feel like at the end of the day, LeBron, he got that in him to like where he would leave his chick if she started like getting out of pocket like that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't feel like Steph got that. Like, I don't feel like he got that in him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You gotta know when to be a dog sometimes. You gotta just turn into a beast sometimes and just let them know, like, I'm not playing,
Yeah.
But if they sense you don't got that in you, like, and I was gonna ask y'all this question too. I was watching It Is What It Is podcast, Mason Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
And Cameron was on there saying his best relationships are when the girl love him and he just like her.
Mm.
He said those were his best relationships. Like, what do y'all feel about that? Do you feel like if the woman loves you more than you love her, that the relationship can flow a little bit better because she's mostly in your frame? She looks to you like you're on a higher pedestal, kind of energetically.
It always works. It always works like that when a girl is showing more interest. You're not really caring about. You're not paying attention to little things like who she talked to, what she do when you're not around. Like you don't really care, and it's like everything's perfect. I've noticed this with foreign women, but as soon as I say, okay, let me match her energy, let me let me start developing mutual feelings, then I start to, pay attention and notice things. And in reality, she pushes back at things because when I fall in love or catch feelings, I'm requiring more. But before I wasn't in her like that, I wasn't requiring anything. So she cool. She can move how she want to move. I'm not caring. And, she's working hard for my affection and attention. You know what I mean? But it's hard. It sounds good, but at some point you spend time with a person. At some point you gonna catch develop some feelings. So
But
it's
you don't
kind of
think it
hard to
actually
say that.
applies both ways? I mean, same thing as a man that's falling hard for a woman and she only likes him. It kind of it kind of goes both ways, man. It's like it really depends on that person's intention.
Elaborate on that.
I mean, it's no different than when a man's falling falling for a woman that he just met. He loves her and he buys her things, pays her rent, while she just likes him. It's no different. I mean, she may still be in a relationship with him, but she only does a little, but he does the most. Same
Right.
goes as the woman. She does the most, he does a little. At the end of the day, it's like one is trying to get, one's trying to be above the other versus trying to find a happy medium to please both sides equally.
Right.
So I'm gonna approach it from like a little bit of a different perspective.
Okay.
So this is what I believe, right? So I feel like a man should have like a life's mission, right? Something that is like something he's trying to chase or go towards, right? But I don't think it should be like something very trivial or something like that, like a certain amount of money or something like that, like his life's calling. And I feel like that should be his number one goal. And his wife or his lady understands his number one goal. So that is the peak of his mountain. He's chasing that, he's moving towards that, and she supports him in that. So therefore she knows that she'll never be number one in his life, but she understands her role in helping him achieve his goal or what he's trying to work towards. But if a man hasn't even defined what he's chasing or going towards, he's navigating through life, but he's not really focused on something. So therefore, if she knows that she comes before his highest calling, she loses a little bit of respect for him. So even in the Bible, it talks about, it's God, man, wife, children.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? If a man is too wrapped up in his woman, I feel like she loses a little bit of respect for him. It's not saying he can't show her love and all those types of things, but she's like, at the end of the day, she knows she can control him,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
she loses that respect because he's worried about her. He's not worried about what he should be worried about.
yeah, I agree. I agree. But
But
how many men are focusing on their life mission right now? Let's be honest. Not a lot of men are that focused nowadays.
Yeah, I
So the
think most people are
likelihood,
in survival mode, just based on
yeah,
the economy, just so many different things, and
yeah.
that's something for every man to just figure out. What is your
mhm.
life's calling? You
I
know,
say, hey, find your circle, nourish it, and see where it goes from there. Life is short, man. Within the past few years, I've seen people pass away so quickly. People, guys that I know pass away in their 40s and their 30s. I mean, dude, live your life. Find someone that fucks with you, and hopefully you guys could build something before, before something happens, man. At the end of the day, we can't control what's going to happen. Yes, you may fall in love, you may get married. Yeah, there's a possibility that it may not work out. It's what it is. Life, man. Nothing's guaranteed but death. So, I mean, if marriage is not for you, all right, honor that. Make sure the person that you're fucking with, you tell them that.
Hmm.
You know, if marriage is your intention, all right, cool. Focus on that. Don't go out there and try to smash every chick you meet while trying to be serious. Again, so it's just like at the end of the day, man, like you said, find your life purpose and stick with it. But also too, live your life, man. It's like go out there and live, man.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree 100%.
yeah. Life is short. That's one thing I've been thinking about. Life is short, man. I'm approaching, I guess you could say, almost mid 40s. You start to see, people people from high school passing for unexpected reasons.
Yeah,
Family members. You like, damn. So stuff is hitting home more and more, and it's kind of sad because men see the writing on the wall a lot of times. Men recognize like we only here for so long, but it's sad that a lot of women feel like they have so much time, and it's a slap in the face because we know some people Canard that's in a space that's been divorced, but they may have not put it out publicly.
yeah,
Um, in some situations, the wife has tried to come back, or they try to start to be cool again, and even my ex, indirectly through my mom, inquire about this or stuff, or want me to know about something's going on in her family. So it's just like women have this back and forth too, and like even if you got back with an ex, it's like, we lost all this time. Like, and some people may say it's good for growth, but like, Nelly and Ashanti, they got married, they had probably over a 10-year break.
yeah.
And is what you did within those 10 years, was it really necessary? You know, you probably got dicked down by different dudes and this and that, to realize, okay, this is where my heart is at. Like, you know, I think it's beautiful to say you was married for 20, 30 years. Like, honestly, for me, you know, let's say it took for me 50 to get married and I only have 5 years left on the clock. Like, yeah, I didn't want for my life to say, okay, I was married for 5 years and now and God take me away. Like, I wanted to have that story of saying I've been married 10, 20, 30 years, But, you know, men and women see things differently, unfortunately,
Yeah. Like I personally know some guys who've been married for 20 plus years and they totally afraid to divorce their wives because they got properties, they got investments together. And I'm like, bro, you're slowly dying. And you worrying about assets, like, dude, you could die tomorrow. And you'll never get that sense of peace of you just doing your own thing. And it's just like they stay in these marriages, man. And that's something that I would never do. It's like, hey, like I told my wife, man, it's like, hey, if things don't work out between us, I don't have a problem signing the papers, man. I'm too old to go back and forth. It's just like, you know what? I'm good. I'll take care of my kids. You don't have to worry about my kids. I'll take care of them. And you can go about your business, man.
Bro,
We
we can
go
go.
to huh?
We can all go out tomorrow. We can't take none. I can't take none of this with me.
Nope.
I can't take none of this
All I
with me.
have right now, I'm 48. Well, I'm 47 turning 48. All I have is time. I don't have enough time, man. So I'm not gonna waste my time on bullshit. If there's a lot of back and forth, the relationship's not working, you know what? Hey, let's just end it. Fuck therapy. Like let's just end it. And you go about your business, I go about mine, and don't worry again. I'll take care of the kids. I'll make sure you're good on that. But I'm gonna live my life, man. And it's just like, and I think a lot of men forget that. They focus on these material things like, hey, got my investment, my properties and all that, yeah, which is great, but who's to say that you live long enough to even enjoy it, man? Most guys who retire die within 5 years after retirement.
Hmm.
So that's why I'm glad I was able to visit 45 countries. I'm glad I was able to do the things that I was able to do when I was single. Man, I did a lot of fuck shit. Did a lot of it. But also too, do I miss it? Nah. I'm just at a different stage in my life. Now, granted, if things were to push me back into them streets again, I'll do it all over again. So it's just like, all right, cool. I'll continue where I left off.
Yeah, that's why I like Brother Taylor Made, man. He left and said, "Bro, He said, I'm enjoying my retirement, you know, um, and he living the dream, at peace, somewhere where he's at peace and safe, and you know, whether married or not, you know what I mean, um, happy and peaceful, man. But you know, I'm gonna say a statement, and I'll let people say something closing out, man. But yeah, a takeaway should be whatever you got, you can't take it with you. You can't take it with you. You want to be responsible, financially responsible, but realize that a lot of this stuff that you obtain, something happen, we can't take it with us. So you want to enjoy it a little bit too, man, and and travel, figure out your lane, your country, culture, ask questions, and like I said earlier, man, couldn't nobody have gave me advice to put me in a direction where I'm at now. I had to go through it, learn, um, talk about it with the fellas like y'all, and and figure out my own path. Appreciate the super chat, the Pathfinder's journey. Appreciate the $10 super chat. He says, "Great discussion, fellas, man. Appreciate it, bro." All right, Big Taz, man. What you got to say, man? Before we get out of here, man.
Yeah, brothers, man. I can hear like feedback.
Oh, let me pause. Like, man. Oh, you got it.
Okay. Yeah, just great show tonight, man. Appreciate you, brothers. Sharing what was on your mind and your hearts and stuff. Yeah, I just I think at the end of the day, you know, just just focus on what's important to you. I just say that, man. Whether that's traveling, whether that is entertaining the relationship, just figure out what's important to you, go after that, and deal with people who support you along that path, whether that's friends, family, or a romantic partner, man. Just look within yourself and just figure out how you want to live your life and just move forward.
Yeah, sure. Let
Pastor,
me show super chat real quick. Appreciate you, TF, for the $5 super chat, man. Much appreciated, bro. Oh, you got it back, man. Troubles.
yeah, same goes, man. Like, find your purpose, man. Live your best life. Take chances, and either you looking for love or just want to be a bachelor with a passport, explore it, man. Have no regrets, and yeah, it's a lot of world out there to see and do and experience, man. Go out there and do it.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
Yes, sir, man. So yeah, I appreciate getting perspective from a current married man, hopefully forever after, and another man that was married and say, you know what, marriage is not for me right now or the near future, man. And myself was married, looking to get married again. You got three different perspectives. Appreciate everybody popping in, man.
Thank you, man.
All right, for sure. Thank you, man. You brothers take care.
All right.
All right.
All right. Man, so there y'all have it, man. So what I learned from marrying a liberal woman. I'm a conservative man, so I need a conservative woman. And if you're a liberal man, there's lots of liberal women out there. But for you conservative man, continue to follow me. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. I'm gonna keep giving you things from a conservative man perspective. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Peace out.
Yeah. Got the flight book, it's a library. I'm in that deal. Just took a flight to Bora and foreign cars like foreigners. Burberry on her. Up in France, bitch, bonjour. I been come to soon. We going Paris tomorrow. Only bags we carry, spin at the mall. We doing singing my Lord. My diamonds be singing. Add some more change. That's the sing along. Dripping all the way from home. Ain't saying the wrong. Got the flight book. It's a library. We ain't flying solo. Tune in to the show. It's the Passport Bros. No excuse entertainment. Jay Sway on the show. Turn it up some more. It's the Passport Bros.